Farmers' reaction mixed to President Trump's tariff rollbacks, the reversal affecting dozens of items, including fertilizer and beef, while there is the potential for some much-needed relief. The benefits, though, aren't instant. Even with some of the new cuts, some farmers will still face long-term losses and financial strains, saying, for example, low cattle supplies and high input costs will still keep prices elevated. Joining us now, Levendofsky, the executive director at the Kansas Farmers Union. Thanks for your time this morning. Is the pain that farmers are feeling right now a direct result of the tariffs, or is it something more?
Well, I would certainly say that the tariffs have not helped. It has caused a lot of problems for farmers, especially when you think about the cost of farm equipment. The steel and aluminum tariffs especially has driven the price of farm equipment up. But, input costs in general for farmers have been up at historic highs for quite some time now. And so when you factor in tariffs on top of that, it doesn't help things at all.
What are some of the things, Nick, that have contributed to the higher costs outside of the tariffs before that was a situation?
I would say the big thing for a lot of farmers when it comes to their input costs is the fact that there is very little competition in the marketplace. And that's an issue that can be and should be addressed at the federal level. We have antitrust laws on the books, but frankly, they've been toothless for the better part of the last 45 years. So we need to strengthen those antitrust laws, and we need to enforce them. The Department of Justice's Antitrust Division wants to work on this. We've had conversations with them about that, but they don't have the staff and they don't have the capacity to do that. So if we could address that problem, I think we could address a lot of these costs, but it's going to take commitment from the administration to make that happen.
Interesting. I appreciate you making that point. Will the rollbacks be enough to offset previous losses, and what are you anticipating?
Well, I don't know. I think it's going to take time to see what happens if there's a market correction. But my hope is that, yes, it will. But I just think it's going to take some time to see what will happen in the long run.
Are some of the farms that have shut down, issues that they've seen, is some of that reversible, or will some go under for good?
Well, my concern is that when we lose farmers, what happens is that the bigger farmers tend to gobble them up. The big continue to get bigger. And it's my hope that that's not the case, but I'm hearing more and more all the time about older farmers wanting to retire because they survived the farm crisis of the 70s and 80s and 90s, and they don't want to go through that again. And that's understandable. But then I'm also worried about the younger farmers, the farmers that haven't been doing this for a very long time and maybe haven't lived through a farm crisis, and how this is going to affect them. So my hope is that we can bolster them, that we can get them through this growing season and into next year. And hopefully there'll be some kind of assistance for them to ensure that they survive. But my worry is that once a farmer goes out, it just causes more growth in larger farms.
Yeah, that makes sense. What is your message to the White House, to the administration on all this?
My message is to listen to farmers and ranchers and don't just flippantly comment on beef and soybeans and things like that. Take some real thought into what you're getting ready to say or what your plans are, because a comment, a post on social media can change things drastically. Tariffs are tools. They're not toys, so we need to use them responsibly.
And finally, Nick, farming is a tough industry. It's very stressful. What's the emotional toll that all of this is taking on people who their livelihoods depend on farming?
That's a very good point, Marni. I'm glad you brought that up, because it does take an effect on the person's emotional well-being, their mental health. Farmers are very independent individuals, and they tend to isolate themselves anyway. When you're out in the field or working with cattle, it's usually just you and maybe one or two others. But they tend to hold that in, and we need to address that issue. Mental health is a very serious situation for a lot of folks, but especially farmers who are dealing with financial stress and the stresses that come with farming, the weather, the markets, all of those things. So first off, if you need help, seek it out. But it's important to check in on people too during these difficult times and make sure that they're doing okay. And it's okay to not be okay. That's the thing. But we also need to address the fact that there are not good mental health resources in rural America. We need to address that issue as well. And I'm hopeful that we can continue to work on that so that we can get the resources that we need out here.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.